Anything at all but it's you. Any other girl but it's you. I dream about anything at all but it's you. Any other girl but it's you. I dream about.
So I've been thinking a lot recently about my YouTube channel. I'm sorry if this talk is distracting. This is Layla. I've been thinking a lot about my YouTube channel recently and kind of trying to figure out what I should do with it, because I did my author website series and that was great. You know, it was really well received, but I felt in my comfort zone with that. You know, I am a professional website designer. That is what I do, and I like to think that I know what I'm talking about. But I finished that series and I wanted to start doing some writing vlogs. The thought of trying to sit down and do a sit down advice style video on writing, just something about it felt really wrong to me, because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm still figuring out things as I go. I'm still very much in the learning process. I'm still very much trying different things out and figuring out what my process is and trying to get published. And so for me to sit down and try and offer you guys advice just felt really wrong. So I decided I'm going to do something a little bit different. I am going to do kind of like a more casual vlog style video when it comes to writing, kind of just like following my journey and following me trying to figure out what my process is. And I don't know if it's going to be helpful. I hope it's going to be helpful. I hope that seeing me sort of try out different things and figuring out what my process is, I hope that that will help you, or that it will motivate you to figure out your own process or to write or whatever. That would be great. But at the very least, even if it's not particularly helpful to you, it will still be really nice for me to look back on. My dog is literally zooming around the living room right now. Like, if you can hear running, that's what she's doing. That is what is left of her blanket that she's just destroyed. What you get when you have a puppy. So yes, today I am going to be plotting out my new book. Just for a little bit of context, I wrote a book last year. It was a sci-fi and I actually finished it. It's probably like the 6th or 7th book that I've tried to write, and it's the first one I actually finished a full first draft on. I was super proud of myself. I've done a lot of editing on that book, but I don't know, something about it, I feel like there's something quite big that needs to change in it, and I'm not prepared at the moment to go through and make that change, because while I was waiting for beta feedback, I started writing a new book, and it's a different genre. It is a domestic / psychological thriller, which is actually what I read mostly. I do read a lot of sci-fi and I do read a lot of fantasy, but my favourite genre is like domestic thriller and psychological thriller. But this feels much more natural to me. I actually wrote the first chapter already before I started plotting, which is highly unlike me, but I had the scene in my head and I just wanted to get it out on paper. It just flowed, the words just kind of fell out of me, and I felt so much more comfortable writing in this genre. So I'm kind of thinking that I'm going to take a break on the sci-fi and stop editing it for the time being. I might go back to it, but right now I'm feeling really good about this thriller. Today I'm going to be plotting it, and if you don't know me, I am a bit of an insane plotter. I figured out quite early on in the sci-fi that the way that I finish drafts is by plotting really well, because it means that I don't have that situation where I'm like staring at a blank page and I don't know what to write. I always know what's coming next because I plot in such detail. That's just me. Everyone's process is different. Like I said, I'm still figuring mine out. So I am going to crack out an old friend. Oh, it's not here. This old friend is gonna be joining me. I know the Save the Cat beats pretty well from using them with the sci-fi. Like, I know what each beat is meant to do, but I still like to go through the book anyway and just reread it, re-ingest the information. I'll be going through the questions at the end of each chapter that just kind of say like, for each beat. These are the things you should think about. So I'm going to do that. And then I've also got another book which was recommended by Caitlin Duncan. If you haven't subscribed to her channel, you should. She's amazing. And it's this one, Mastering Suspense, Structure and Plot, and it's by Jane K. Cleland. That is what it looks like. And I'm going to be going through this one as well, and yeah, just seeing what we come up with. Okay, so I've finished my coffee and this is what I've come up with. I'm gonna blur some of this so that I don't give away spoilers, and I don't actually know where I got this template from. It's one that I had with the sci-fi. I will try and find out where I got it from because it's really useful if you're like a hardcore plotter like me. But I'll quickly take you through it. So you've got project title, Project Save Me. I haven't actually got a title for it yet. Log line, a gated community, a dead body, a missing terminally ill girl. Everyone thinks Jodie did it, but she knows there's more to this supposedly idyllic suburb than meets the eye. Wah, wah, wah. Word count, I've put 80,000 just because it's a good number to aim for this genre. And then basically the way that this doc works is whatever number you put in here, it will then automatically calculate the rest. So it's calculated the page count for me, and then it calculates the estimated word count. And I think originally it did also have an estimated page count, and I deleted it just because I don't work in pages, I just work in word count. So yeah, but I think the original one did have that. And then I actually inserted this double column here. So what I do is, firstly, all the beats are here. So you've got opening, image, theme stated, setup, etc. And then I write in what I want each beat to be here. And then estimated word count is automatically calculated for you, just so that you've got a little bit of a guide for what you want. You know, when you're writing, you've got a bit of a guide as to how long it should be. And then I put in my actual word count here once I've written those scenes. I hope that makes sense. And then I've put chapter down the side here. So yeah, I guess I'll read you the first one. I'm not going to read any more, but I will read you the opening image. So, the body of Nora Williams has been found in her garden. Her terminally ill daughter Lacey is missing. The residents of the gated community gather at the community centre, where 30-year-old Jodie Anderson reflects on the fact that she spoke to Lacey the night before. She's probably the main suspect, and she's not exactly sorry that Nora is dead. So that is my opening image. Now I'm going to start working my way through this book. I've already read some of it, so I'm just going to finish it. I'm about 3/4 of the way through. I'm just going to finish it, and then there's like another plotting structure in here. It's called Jane's Plotting Footprint, I think I want to call it that. I will put the correct title in here in case that's wrong. But yeah, it's basically another plotting structure similar to the Save the Cat beats, which I'm gonna do now. Okay, so I have finished reading it and I've finished going through the Jane's Plotting Roadmap. I still feel like I've got that wrong. What is it called? Yes, Jane's Plotting Roadmap. I did get it right. Jane's Plotting Roadmap I've done. I don't know what's going on with my fringe, guys. I'm really sorry. It's the end of a very long day. But I actually really like this, and I think it goes very well hand in hand with the Save the Cat beats, because one of the things that I feel the Save the Cat beats lacks is subplots. So it kind of just focuses on that one main plot that you've got going throughout the sort of centre of the story, and it doesn't touch on subplots, whereas Jane's Plotting Roadmap, it's really hard to explain, but basically she's got like the main plot going through the middle, and then the like side plot sort of jumping in at various intervals throughout, and it kind of tells you what sort of page number you should be mentioning each of your subplots in. And just the way she describes them and how they shouldn't just be random extra storylines on the side, but how they should be all linked in, and it's just very good the way she describes them. So I would definitely recommend picking this book up if you haven't yet. So I've gone through and I've done the roadmap, and it's really helped me out with my subplots. It's really helped me figure out what I want them to be. I've basically settled on, there's two main characters, there's Jodie and Nora. It is one POV, which is just Jodie's POV, but I touch on the backstories of both of them throughout the novel. So that's kind of like my two subplots, is Jodie's backstory and Nora's backstory, and how they kind of all link in together. I am feeling really good about it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to write a synopsis, which was a tip suggested to me again by Caitlin Duncan. She's awesome. And also Brittany Wang. They did like a live stream where they spoke about this, where you do a synopsis before you start writing, and normally it's something that you would do afterwards, like in preparation for sending to agents. But the beauty of doing it beforehand is you've got like an outline that you can follow, but also you can then show that synopsis to your critique partner and they can kind of give you feedback on whether they think the story is going to be strong enough before you start writing the novel. That's basically the gist of it. I'll leave their live stream down below if you want to watch the full video that they did. But yeah, that is what I'm going to do now, and then once I've got my synopsis written, that is going to be the entire novel plotted in one day. Check me out. By the way, if you wanted to see Jane's plotting roadmap, this is basically what it looks like. It does look really confusing, but once you read the book, it's not so confusing. So the middle bit is like your main plot, and then these are your subplots. So you can see, ooh, it's really hard doing it with one hand. You can see you start here, and then on about page 40, you introduce one of your subplots, and then around page 80 you have another subplot, and then these are like twists and changes of direction and like shocks for the reader, so, or for the character. So yeah, it basically just tells you roughly what page each of these things should happen as you go through. I am done writing my synopsis. I'm so proud of myself. But that is it. Again, I'm going to blur some of this out. If you are looking for a really good resource on writing a synopsis, I highly recommend the Pub Crawl article, I guess, on writing a synopsis. I'll link it down below. It is so good. It just takes you step by step through writing it, and I honestly pumped this out in like half an hour. And I think synopsis are one of those things that writers tend to struggle with, because it's kind of getting your story and bringing it down into a really small one page, which is not the easiest thing to do. But again, I'll just read the first paragraph to you. So, in the supposedly idyllic gated community of Kensington Grove, the body of Nora Williams has been found in her back garden, and her wheelchair-bound and terminally ill daughter Lacey is missing. The gates were locked and no visitors were signed in, so there's only one answer. The killer must be one of the residents. And then we flash back to 1 year earlier and see all of the events that lead up to the murder. So I am equal parts knackered and also desperate to start writing now. I love plotting. It just makes me so excited for drafting, because I now know what's coming, and I'm like, I know what's going to happen in chapter 20, and I'm desperate to get to that point so that I can write it. And I am a chronological writer as well, so plotting it out and knowing what's to come and knowing that some of the best scenes are towards the end just kind of makes me, it serves as like motivation to keep writing. So my brain is kind of dying now because I've done 3 loads of plotting in one day, but I'm super proud of the progress, and I think I've got a really good story here. I'm so pleased. I'm so happy with it. Like I say, I just think I feel so much better about it than I did with the sci-fi. The sci-fi took me a really long time to plot. It took me such a long time to figure out how I was going to fill all of those pages, and this one, it just, like I say, just poured out of me. It just feels so much more natural, so much easier. So yeah, hopefully that's a good sign. And thank you for joining me on this rambly vlog. I hope it wasn't too boring for you, and I definitely look forward to doing some more of these. So let me know if you enjoyed, and let me know what your plotting process is like. I would love to know, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.
Anything at all but it's you. Any other girl but it's you. I'm dreaming about anything at all but it's you. Any other girl but it's you.